Hi, I'm Andrei Mincov, the founder of Trademark Factory, and you're watching another episode of Kick-Ass Brand Show. Today, I bring you Petra, the powerhouse behind Big Leap Bootcamp. I could simply say that she's a business strategy coach, but that'd be boring as hell, and it would only be half true. Yes, she is a business strategy coach, but she's so much more than that. Petra is primarily a coach to coaches, consultants, and service-based professionals who need help turning their vision into action, specifically to create a signature system of online courses and group programs. Petra created a unique program that walks you by the hand and helps you turn your surviving one-on-one business into a thriving one-to-many business. She calls it Big Leap Bootcamp. And in this episode, Petra shares several stories how branding impacted her life and her business. So tune in and see what my guest has to say this time. So Petra, thank you for joining me tonight. Really appreciate you coming over, and I think you've got an amazing story, and I'm really excited that you're going to share that with the audience.
Well, I really appreciate you making the time and inviting me to your show. I'm really excited to be here.
So let's start with this, and I know you're following the footsteps of Brian Scudamore. I think you will agree with me that he needed a little bit less introduction. So
most likely.
But you still have an amazing business and you still have an amazing story. And why don't we start with you telling that story? How did you end up doing your business and what your business is?
Well, I think for me it was in my business. So I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, and I specifically work with entrepreneurs and also corporate clients to help develop online courses and group programs. So for a corporate client, that might be called e-learning, and for entrepreneurs, they tend to say online training. And I got there on a bit of a roundabout kind of way. As many people do, we kind of develop into a business that we perhaps didn't foresee when we started the business. So I started my business pretty much exactly 6 years ago when I lost my corporate job. And I continued, I was an e-commerce manager for the One World Management Company. And I continued on the process of website strategy initially, and then ultimately realized it wasn't something that I wanted to continue doing. And then I somehow suddenly was creating online courses. And when I looked back, I'm like, when did I make that decision? It just seemed to somehow happen. And I'm super thrilled with it because I think it actually utilizes a lot of my skill sets and what I'm enthusiastic about doing. I love learning. I love teaching. I love to give people opportunity to come out better than they came into the relationship that we have. They come in and they want to grow their business, and I want to give them the opportunity to achieve that. So I'm really thrilled of where I got to, but I never really can answer this question very, very clearly because I can't remember ever having made it as a decision. It just seemed to happen.
What was your first course that you created?
So the first course I created was Client Winning Website, which, as you might remember, has its own little story, that course. But it was a similar topic, but I did it all the wrong way. And I really only realized that once I fully created the course and I had the first people go through it and they weren't jumping up and down in excitement. And then what I did is I created a second course, different topic, followed the same kind of principles, and I realized it was had the same effect. And that's when I decided I needed to go to some other people, learn how to do this, and learn from some people who really knew how to create an online course, because I was adamant that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to create online courses. And then I just developed new courses and courses in different levels, self-study courses as well as more engaged mastermind type courses that really helped me to build my business and helped me to teach others now to not do these same mistakes that I made and actually do this much more effectively and follow a system and some processes that really help them to build courses that they can then also sell and that they can also have success with.
Right. You know what? I've always said that you can learn from your own mistakes and you can learn from mistakes of others. But when you learn from your own mistakes, the lesson is so much clearer.
Oh, yeah. But it's also more expensive,
and
you know.
More painful.
And I think that's what a lot of people forget is that when they're trying and they're saying, well, I don't have the money to go into a program or take this course, I'll figure it out myself. They're wasting their time and money, particularly time. And time is more valuable than money. It's what we cannot recreate. Time lost is gone forever. And for us to not understand how to do something effectively is a waste of our time. It's a waste of those clients' time. We're building a lot of bad press, ultimately bad karma for having people go through programs that are really crappy, like I did, at the beginning.
I agree with you 100%, especially with stuff like courses, when by the time you figure it out, there's so much others. There's so many courses of others on the same topic that by the time you figure it out, you lose whatever advantage you may have had because you thought you had something out there, right? So you really don't have that much time to take it from point A to point B. You have to jump there so you can actually have some competitive advantage. Would you agree with that?
And you would only get there by having some unhappy clients. And how would we ever want to say, well, in order for me to learn, I'm okay to have some unhappy clients? We should never say that. So we should always say, so how can I get there and give my clients great value so they will always be happy? I can always improve a program. Any program can always be improved. But you still can create a program so that it creates value and leaves your clients being happy. What I did was the wrong way. Now, I gave these programs at the beginning away for free, so it wasn't like they could say, well, I've paid you $10,000 and now I've got this crappy program. But it was still something where I actually had people go through something that didn't give them a good experience. So I wouldn't ever want to do this again, and I don't want my clients to do this. So ultimately, I think when you are learning from somebody who's made these mistakes on your behalf, it is ultimately costing you less money in your business, and it will create a lot of goodwill because your clients are all happy.
Yeah. So you mentioned the story about the old brand. Why don't you share that with the audience?
Yeah, so that was kind of a story, and I think it was really, I knew you before, but this is really how I got to know you. So it's one day I got a phone call from a woman, I couldn't take the call, so it was a phone message, and I never had heard of her. And she was basically leaving me the message that I am using her brand, which is Client Winning Website, and I should basically get in touch with her, and we need to sort this out, and I need to immediately stop using the brand. And I was like, oh my God, I was terrified. And the very first thing I did was emailed you. That was the first thing I did. Right after breathing heavily, I emailed you to find out what is it that I need to do about this and what can she actually do. I didn't want to talk to her before I was feeling more informed about this. And you were helping me through this whole thinking of, okay, what she can do and what is it that she's likely to do and what is it that she ultimately has as a lever against me. And what was happening is that I've created my program, Client Winning Website, and I have a website called clientwinningwebsite.com, which is my URL, which I used to have for some years by then. But she has a program called Client Winning Websites, in plural, and blogs. And she has a website called clientwinningwebsites.com. And the only way how she found out about mine, so the one S was the one thing that was different in our URLs, because actually they were doing some work on her website, somebody made a mistake, didn't put the S into the URL, and a client or somebody ended up on my website, send it to her and say, you should know about this. So she felt that she owned this brand and she wanted me to discontinue using it. And that really taught me the lesson to be really clear about my program, because I had no idea about her program. And ultimately, after all we had conversations, and after all our conversations, I decided to maintain my URL for the time being. It's not a big program. It's not something that I particularly push, because I have actually really left the website business. I'm really offering it now as a service to some of my clients who might have a need. My focus really is about creating online courses, group programs, which is really covered through the Big Leap Bootcamp, which I am happy to say I now have a registered trademark in Canada, and we're just waiting for the final results from the United States for it. So I went and said, that's the program I'm investing in, and that's where I'm also going to put the money behind my trademark registration. And so I'm really happy to have that out of the way so that this can't happen to me again.
So to you, what does Big Leap Bootcamp mean in terms of what meaning do you put in that name?
Mm-hmm. So for me, it's for people who are ready to take a leap, to really make a big step in their business forward. They're already in business, they're already making money, but they know that they've kind of reached perhaps a little plateau, and now they're saying, okay, this can't be it, and it's got to go further. And they want to go further. They're working one-to-one at the moment. They want to work one-to-many. They might work in person. They want to work online. So the Big Leap Bootcamp as a program helps them to overcome all these hurdles, to take that leap in their business and to take their business to the next level. And that's what Big Leap Bootcamp stands for me. But how we got to the title was really a very interesting story as well. Do you want me to tell that one too?
Absolutely. That's what the show is about. It's about your
Yeah,
brands and about your stories.
it was a fun story. So I was working with a colleague of mine and an amazing coach, and we've been doing coaching for each other. And so we were working on a deep dive, developing my program, because even though I help my clients to do this, when you're doing it for yourself, it's really always good to have a second person who you trust and who can be giving you a different perspective. So I was working with this wonderful coach who you know as well, and her name is Michaela Quilici. And we were working on, who is the audience for this and what are we going to cover? And then we realized that we were building out something that was massive, and we had to drill it down for a little bit, and we had to select the areas that I really thought that must be in this program, so I'm not overwhelming people. And as we were identifying it, I was painting around it on a whiteboard with markers. And then we looked at it and I said, that looks like a boot. So it became the boot camp. And then we were talking about, well, what are people actually doing here? Well, they're taking a leap. They're taking a leap in their business. And this is how we came up with the Big Leap Bootcamp.
That's fascinating. I never knew that.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't know the boot story. That's
the boot story
funny.
was very funny. Yeah.
Two girls,
Yep.
boots. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, two girls, boots. Girls and shoes.
That's so funny.
But to me, it's about that leap. It's about, really taking a bigger step and taking a leap of faith, and partly because entrepreneurs often have really big goals, but they often hold themselves back from achieving those goals. And it's because they're fearful. So they are sitting on the fence all the time. They're weighing back and forth. Am I going to do this? Am I not going to do this? Is this worth investing the money? Is it worth it? In the meantime, they spend so much time on it. They could have half achieved it if they hadn't spent the time on just worrying about yes or no. So this is really about people who really are saying, I want to grow, I want to take a next step, and I'm ready to take a leap. And I just need somebody to help me to do it and guide me through it.
So tell me this. Do you notice how your newer clients who know you under the new brand, how do they react to your brand? Do they ever mention anything about that?
Well, I think the leap definitely is something that resonates with them. Bootcamp as well is something that to me means you are going into it for a limited time, but you have a definite outcome, and that outcome is going to really make a big change. It's not, it's a much stronger word to me than perhaps group program. Or, I mean, mastermind is a strong word for me, but if I just called it a group program, let's say the Big Leap group program, it doesn't even run over my tongue.
No.
So I wouldn't be as strong. I think boot camp for people, it typically means action. And that's what I want people to take. So I want people who are action takers, who are actually really getting into this and are doing it and are not stopping themselves from doing it. So in that regard, I do believe it gives that message. But I do know that, sometimes I think people are not understanding the word leap. So the word leap could be lead, there's I think something audio where people may sometimes not hear exactly what it is, and they need to almost see it in writing. This is something that I was not paying attention to because we were the two girls in the boots, we were making up this name, and I still totally believe in the name, and I'm super excited about it. I think that we've come up with a great logo, and so I'm super happy. But with any name, I think there's always going to be somebody who doesn't like it, and there's always going to be somebody who will love it. Yeah. And ultimately, if you're choosing a name, you've got to go with something that you actually can connect with, and that means something to you, because that's going to bring out that excitement when you talk about it. Because if you come up with something that you find like, then you're not going to talk about it in an excited way.
And really, I found, especially with Trademark Factory, I see it all the time, because whenever I come up with some ideas, I'm like, this would actually make it more like a factory, which is, this kind of the chicken and the egg problem, right? Because what I'm trying to build and the name, they kind of go hand in hand. And a lot of those ideas where I automate things and make things better, like, this is one extra step to make it more like a factory. Interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure with you, the name itself, when you build your programs, you're also in the back of your mind, like, this is something that's going to help them make that big leap that I'm promising them.
Yes.
And every time you improve your program, I'm assuming, tell me if I'm wrong, you're like, this is going to make them make even a bigger leap.
Yes. Yeah. Well, absolutely. And I think it's about that. It's when you have a vision for what you actually want to, the value you want to create.
Yeah.
And how do you then accomplish that vision? And it's one part is, what do you do in the program? Another part is, how do you find the right people? So as I said before, I want action takers. And learning by taking people through the program as well is about, okay, perhaps there have been some people in the program that perhaps weren't those action takers. Yeah. And it may have been better if they hadn't taken this program. Perhaps what they needed is something different. So what it also tells me is, as I identify with this brand more, I can also be more discerning to find the right clients who are really going to be perfectly going through this. And I can see that this is a fairly new program. As I'm progressing through the program, the success rate goes up.
Right.
It's because I'm clear about what I'm delivering. I'm clear about how I can best deliver it so that it serves my clients. But I'm also clear about who is the ideal client for this.
You know what? There's one phrase that I learned at an event, and I thought it was so brilliant. The guy said, "I'm not in the business of turning losers into winners. I'm in the business of helping winners win more." Mm-hmm. And that's exactly about, those action takers, because you don't want to teach people who are just at best going to listen to you and say thank you. Mm-hmm. You want to teach people who are actually going to use that, because that makes your life so much happier, because you see those results.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? It's the same thing for us, because we, out of all the trademarks that we file, there's a small percentage they file and few months later say, you know what, I'm no longer interested in this brand. And to me, I'm like, well, yeah, we got paid, we got everything, but to me, they robbed me of the experience of being able to give them the certificate and ask them how they're doing and listen to their story, how they went from just little idea to having their stuff all over the place. that's really what makes it so exciting for me. And when they tell me, you know what, I no longer need this, I'm like, that's too bad.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
And that is disappointing because when we are really connected with our business, we want our clients to succeed. And yes, I totally hear you and I can totally relate to that. And I think I've got the same thing. Like, I'm really interested in my clients succeeding because I want them to get the value out of the program, and I want them to get the value out of the change in their business model as well.
Yeah.
And I know I had to learn it's a bigger journey than I actually thought it was. And no, it's perhaps because I put I was probably blind to the whole process I've gone through myself. I was just, once I'd gone through the process, I didn't perhaps value enough anymore the process I had gone through. And I was expecting my clients could go through this really fast, but it isn't. It is actually a fairly slow process to change your business model from helping your clients one-to-one to helping them one-to-many, and building your business out with multiple programs and putting the right structures and strategies in place to fill those programs. It's not an easy thing that happens in 3 weeks or whatever. I mean, there's lots of programs out there that promise this, that you can do this in whatever, 6 weeks or something. And I think you can only do it in 6 weeks if you have everything clear of what you want to create and you're totally clear on your strategy, which hasn't happened to me with one of my clients. And all you do is sit down and just basically hammer out your program.
Yeah.
And then you can do that in 6 weeks. But if you actually have to figure out what it is that you want to create, you have to figure out how to do it, because you're perhaps not used to creating videos, and some of my clients have never even opened a PowerPoint presentation. So it's very difficult for them to do this process. And then understanding what systems to put in place to automate it and to fill your programs, that's a whole other part. But you can't be successful without having all these parts.
So I know you've played around with both offline and online. Which is it now? Where are you? Where do you teach people?
Well, I do both, online, offline, and in a combination of that. So
But the Big Leap Bootcamp, what is it? Is it an online program? Is it an in-person program? What is it?
So the Big Leap Bootcamp is a combination of, is the real program we're talking about is an online program, but it's not all automated. I spend a lot of time with my clients in front of the camera, like we're doing right now. Actually, tomorrow I have one of my VIP days. It's a full day I spend with my clients, and they have access to me the whole day to work on their projects. So that's what the Big Leap Bootcamp is. But I also offer a Big Leap Bootcamp live event, which is a 3-day training event. And during that's in person. So that's in person in a classroom, at a hotel, of course, but in a classroom type setting. And it really is for people who are either they've already created programs and they want to know how to build them up and put them to the next level and how to fill programs, or people who actually haven't done that at all yet and are trying to figure out, is this the right strategy for me, and what would I need to put in place to get started with that.
Right.
So it's an event that really serves people throughout the whole process of starting to being advanced. That event will have lots for everybody in there to look at the programs they're already creating, they have created, to improve them, to look at how they can build new programs that fit really well with them, so that you're actually building it out as a business model, or I call that a signature leveraged system. And once you have the signature leverage system, it's very unique to you. That's the signature part.
We should trademark that.
Well, I'm not so sure. Can we trademark that?
I don't know.
Then it's leveraged. It's building your business. It's doing more with less effort. And it's a system. It's repeatable. And that's what we're trying to create. So during the event, we will talk a lot about how to build that sort of a system.
So how often do you run these events?
Well, as you're asking me today, actually the next event is in 3 weeks. So it's very soon, 26 to 28 October.
So how many times a year do you do those?
Well, I can't say that at the moment, because this is the very first one that I'm running as a 3-day event, where it's an event that isn't part of the program. It's separate to the program.
So if somebody again, I interrupted you. So when, where?
So it's on the 26th to 28 October. It's in Vancouver in the West End at the Best Western Plus Sands Hotel. And
So Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, for those
Vancouver,
who are
British
listening to us
Columbia,
outside
Canada.
of Canada.
Right downtown, really close to the beautiful beaches of English Bay. And we're having a 3-day training event where we learn about how to leverage, how to build the signature system, what to consider when you're building an online course, because it's different. If we're teaching something online, particularly if it's pre-recorded, we have to think about this very differently to a classroom training, a workshop or something. So we're teaching about that, about learning styles and how to apply them to your courses. And then we also teach about how to fill those programs, regardless if you're speaking from the stage or if you're speaking one-on-one.
Is there a link where people can buy tickets or fill out the application? What's the process?
So the website for the event information is event.bigleapbootcamp.com.
Okay.
Event.bigleapbootcamp.com.
Is there a link to the event on the main Big Leap Bootcamp website?
Yes. There's an event on my website, which is petramayerconsulting.com. So under my training programs, there is a link to the event there as well. Yeah, and I'd love to actually also give your listeners a discount coupon so that they could book it at a reduced price with a $200 discount. And I'll give you that discount coupon as well. I will send that to you, but it's BLBE for Big Leap Bootcamp event, $200 off.
That's easy to remember. That's cool. I hope this generates some additional buzz for you.
That would be awesome.
So who is this event for, primarily?
So this event is primarily for entrepreneurs who have already decided that they want to get into online programs and who want to figure out how to do that.
Are you filming it?
Probably not. It's not planned that it film.
You should film it and then you should sell the videos. Come on.
I might film it. I haven't.
Because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are not willing to travel to Vancouver. But I know you're going to be sharing some super valuable information. So unsolicited advice. Yes. You may want to consider getting a videographer there.
Yeah, I'll think a little more about it.
So anyway, this is awesome. And this is great. I am very, very excited to see where you're taking this, because I remember that call, or what was that a call? No, that was an email when he said, Andrei, I got this woman who's after me. And and my advice was, you don't want to build a brand that you can't own, because whether we'd be able to, withstand her initial demands, I knew that if you were to grow this business big enough, that would be the time that she'd go after you. And the initial disappointment was changed into, you found something else. You found Big Leap Bootcamp. It's so good to see you excited about it. And it's so amazing to see you grow from, just the ideas to online courses to, in-person tiny events that, a couple you invited me to. And it was a big honor for me to be a part of them. And now you're doing this big one. It's so good. So good.
Yeah, it's been a journey, like your journey. I'm watching in awe how your journey unfolds. So that's pretty amazing what's happening for you in your business. So, and I think as you know, I always talk to my clients about trademarking what they're building, and again, this is a slow business. I sometimes really have to stop myself and say, this is a slow business. This is something where people take time to build that. I mean, some of my clients do it in 4 months. Most of them take more time than that.
Yeah.
And I think the whole trademarking of what they're building is something that they don't do right at the beginning, because they haven't had that call that I had, even though I tell them about that call. But I think because they haven't had that call themselves, they don't, like, I started getting the trademark for the Big Leap Bootcamp immediately when I decided on the name. And once I had the logo, I immediately went for the trademarking. I hadn't sold it at that stage. And that's perhaps a little unusual. I think most people will probably want to first see that it gets some traction before they then say, okay, now I'm ready to invest and protect.
Actually, I disagree with you, because all the successful ones, they usually protect it before they take it public. Because
Yeah.
that's the safest and the easiest way to do it. And it's funny because I had a conversation with another entrepreneur the other day, and we chatted about what's the most common objections to your business, to my business, and both of our businesses. Well, it's not the right time. He's like,
Oh yeah.
and he says, even in your business, I'm like, yeah, of course, that's what they say all the time. It's like, when is the right time to trademark your brand? When somebody's suing you? When you have to rebrand? Is that the right time? Like, yeah, apparently that's what they're waiting for. But
I hear that often too. It's not the right time, and I'm not ready.
Yeah. So anyway, and maybe they're not, but that's okay. So look, it's great to have you. It's amazing to see your success. I want you to share 3 tips that have to do with one of them at least has to deal with your approach to brand, how to build a brand, how to promote a brand, how to make sure that the brand actually means something not just to you but to your customers. Mm-hmm. What would you share with the audience?
Yeah, so I think the very first thing to me is that you build the brand around something that means something to you, that you're excited about. The second one would be to test that brand, which is the step that I skipped, but I'm still super happy with my brand. So I skipped that one because I was so convinced by it, and I still am. And then when you have the material created, so have a good logo created. So go to don't just create it yourself there's online tools to create your own brand. Go to a designer and have it created, or go to at least one of those websites where you can have a brand created by designers. I mean, there's lots of opportunities out there where you get lots of feedback. And then I actually would recommend that if this is the brand that you see being a core part of your business, that you protect that brand with a trademark and get that out of the way. It's a long process anyway. Like it takes 18 months or something. So it's a long process. You're building your business, but you already know that because you already applied for that trademark. It's very likely, and particularly with the system that you have in place, it's very likely that you're going to get it. And to have that protection in place, so nobody can come once you've put all your love and your tears and your sleepless nights into it, and can say, guess what, I own this, and you've got to let go of it.
Those are great tips. Thank you, Petra. I wish you all the best with your event. So again, October 26th to 28th, did I get the right dates right?
Yes.
In Vancouver, and they need to go to event.bigleapbootcamp.com.
That's correct. And I'll send you the coupon so that you can add that to the page as well.
Okay, wonderful. I wasn't even taking notes. See, I remember.
Yeah. Well, you know the brand that you've trademarked.
I do. I better. So anyway, thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing the wisdom. And I'd be very curious to see what the audience has to say, and what, for them to comment and put some of their experiences in the comments below.
Yeah, I'd love to see that too. And thank you so much for having me and for making the time in your busy week.
Good to have you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Petra and I would love to hear from you, so leave your comment below and share this interview with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to be the first to receive updates about new episodes. And if you think you deserve to be on the show because you have a kick-ass brand, email us at next@kickassbrandshow.com, or simply fill out the form at our website, kickassbrandshow.com. See you in the next episode.